one at a time, and we'll get the job done. Y'all know what to say. On three. 1, 2, 3.
And the home of the Jets.
Good evening, everybody. Happy Victory Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
First one of the year, and it is the perfect example of winning is the ultimate deodorant, as the Jets are now a playoff team. We're ready to go on a run. We are invincible. Life is good. How you doing,
Yeah, man, dude. We won a game, and look, it wasn't pretty. There, it wasn't some flat out dominant win, but you know what? The Jets won a game. I think there were so many different positives that we can pull away from it, and I'm sure we're gonna dive into it. Valen, hey, give me one quick second. I got something for you. Hold up.
We got a special presentation for Valen right here. Look out. What do we have here? Surprise here on a Tuesday evening. Even I don't know what it is.
Yeah, dude. So Valen, all the time, man, and hopefully you're still in the chat. Because it looks like, when was that message sent in? 6:37.
He's right there.
Yeah, hopefully you're still here, man. But real quick, bro, you're always sending in these, absolutely insane super chats. It's mind blowing. And I'm always like, dude, email me. And I never see any emails, any DMs on social media. But dude, I want to send you this Sauce Gardner jersey. It's autographed.
And you know what?
I'm trying to get it in the camera here.
I got his email address now, man. I got his email address and his address. I got both of them, so he's screwed now.
Nice, dude. So yeah, man, if you just want to hit me up, or if it's obviously cool with you, man, Tyson can shoot it over to me. I'm gonna send it to you. So yeah, man, just want to say thanks so much. And yeah, those super chats are absolutely insane, man.
Yeah, he did the same thing for me. So yep, it's coming your way. And I messaged with him today because he did the same thing with me, man. I'm like, so for those of you that don't know, I'm doing a short-term merch drop, white t-shirts and hoodies. So if you want one, I'll put the link in the chat. There'll only be a sale for about a week or so. And what we're going to do is the proceeds are going to go to the American Kidney Fund on behalf of Nick Mangold. So if you want to buy a shirt, again, they're not going to be probably going to sell them for like a week, a pre-sale, and then that's it, man. I'm going to close it out, gather the money, and send it off. So if you want to check it out, t-shirts, just Let's Talk Jets, sweatshirts. That's it. Links in the chat. I'll put the link also. Yeah, thank you, Afram. I know you did. Armand did too as well. So if you got it, I'll put the link in the chat. I'll put the link in the description, and we'll go from there. So, Ian, we have a win, which is exciting. But we also got to think about it. We're at kind of the midway point too. The Jets are 1-7. You have the bye week, and then you have what's going to happen after that. So we can recap the game, but I also kind of want to recap the positions and evaluate them as like the first half of the season and what we think, like the highs, the lows, and what we need to see going forward. Because I think it's kind of important to do that. Like, we have every game in a silo, but then it's like, all right, what's the cumulative effort here? Like, what's the total of all the parts, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's kind of funny because, like, you look at a couple different positions. Like going into the year, we didn't think corner was going to need, be a huge need, right? And we start off the season. You got Aaron Rodgers throwing 4 touchdowns, Josh Allen doing his thing. All these quarterbacks are just lighting up the Jets, and then it's just like, the focus is, hey, we have to fix this cornerback position.
Yep.
We add Jarvis Brown-Lee, Brandon Stevens, more reps under his belt. He's playing so well as of late. No Sauce Gardner, obviously, but it looks like with him, he's kind of turned the page a little bit. He's adjusting to this new Steve Wilks, Aaron Glenn style of system, and now we're back to not needing a cornerback again, which is really cool. But no, I think
let's start with quarterback, dude, because it's probably the most important position on the team, and it was a position that we went in with. Like, Justin Fields was like that reclamation project, what we thought had a lot of potential if you maximize his athletic ability, you scheme him, you have good schemes, you let him run the ball, you let him do all these things. And Sunday we saw the best of Justin Fields, where he looked great. He looked back to the week 1 Justin Fields, but all the games in between had me to the point where, like, I want him benched. I'm tired of seeing him. So how would you assess the Jets quarterback position after 8 games?
Overall, not good. We're still sitting here at the halfway point of the NFL season, asking the question, do we have the long-term option on the roster? And I think 95% of Jets fans would say no. And if the answer is no, I don't care if you're a Jet fan, if you are a fan of another team, if the answer is no and you don't have that long-term franchise quarterback, And granted, franchise quarterback kind of means that term means something differently to everybody. But the way I view just that term alone, franchise quarterback is someone who is unquestionably the starter.
Yep.
You know, it might not be the best quarterback. It's not Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes. Yes, of course, those guys are franchise quarterbacks, but just throughout the course of history, right? Kirk Cousins with the Vikings, franchise quarterback.
Yep.
Matt Ryan, Atlanta Falcons, franchise quarterback, right? They're not entering every offseason looking for upgrades in free agency, up trade market, the draft, where it's just like, okay, we have to pivot immediately. If you have a guy, contract aside, right? Contract aside, you have a guy that is just boom, he's the starter, no questions asked. To me, that is a franchise quarterback year after year. Matt Stafford, Detroit, they weren't winning games, but no one's talking about, man, we really got to upgrade the quarterback position. So the Jets aren't in that spot. I loved what we saw in week 1. I loved what we saw this past week. Really cool for Justin Fields. I'm going to continue to pull for him, but based off of the 8 games that we've seen so far, I'm not ready to fully commit to anybody on this Jets roster right now at the QB position long term. So I think the good news is that whether Fields does continue to improve, because if we see that Justin Fields every single week, that question will be harder to answer at the end of the season.
Correct. Yep.
But until we get there, it's still a question, because the one thing with Justin Fields, and we said it when he was signed, we said it, really early on this season. And I mean, I want to say countless times through the offseason and the summer, he's always been inconsistent. One week he gives you flashes. One week he just doesn't look capable, doesn't look up to the job. If we can get consistency from Justin, and I'm not saying 350, 400 passing yards a game, but just efficient football where it's just, we're not even talking about a quarterback change. The offense is moving, it's functioning, everybody looks comfortable, then cool, we'll reassess afterwards. But to answer your question, through 8 games, the answer is I have not been satisfied.
No, I've been completely disappointed. I mean, you like you said, the highs were high, but the lows were very low, where he was unplayable, where I was like, bench him, I want Tyrod Taylor. If he never plays again, I'm cool with it. But then, like this past Sunday, I was really happy for him, to be honest with you, man, because he went through a lot this week. It's bad enough losing, the media, the fans, your owner acting like a jackass, saying stupid things. And for him to kind of bounce back, I had that game where it's like, you know what? He can exhale now, go into the bye week, get rejuvenated, recover, and hopefully build on it. So you go from that position where it's like, I think we all realize that next year you got to draft a quarterback, whether it's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's fine. But then you got to figure out what's around them on offense. And you look at the offensive line, and the challenge here is that the Bengals defense wasn't great. They weren't.
Well, real quick, not to, nitpick and go at you for like every single little comment here, but when you said like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're talking about the first 5 picks in the draft, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm in a little bit of a different boat. If that quarterback prospect is not there, I'm not just going to take one. And
I wouldn't force it. No, I'm not forcing it. But I'm assuming you're going to you want to use a high pick on a quarterback this next year.
Yeah, ideally, right. But if you're at like 6 or 7 and 3 quarterbacks are gone, I don't feel comfortable going with, because the Jets have a lot of needs, man. Like if we go with we could go get the best edge rusher at that spot, or maybe it's a great wide receiver prospect or something. So I don't want to pigeonhole unless it's the way I'm kind of thinking right now. 1, 2, or 3, you can probably go out and get that quarterback, because luckily for the Jets, the other horrible team in football record-wise is the Titans, and they're not going to be drafting a quarterback up at the top of the draft. So say the Titans get the first pick, Saints get the second pick, Jets get the third pick. Okay, we can still probably land one of the 2 top guys, unless, of course, you have this crazy trade, or Saints at 1, Jets at 2, Titans at 3. However you want to do it up, but really, it's looking like there's 5 teams that are just not good right now this season. Jets, Saints, Browns, Titans, Cardinals. Not Cardinals, Dolphins. Out of those teams, Jets, Saints kind of feel like the heavy favorites to go QB up at the top. Miami, you can argue it, but Tua is still owed a ton of money. I mean, his contract is guaranteed for 2026. So, I think that would be almost like a perfect bridge to draft one at the top of round 2, let him sit for a season watching Tua, and then once Tua is not guaranteed any more money, then you insert the second rounder with not a lot of pressure on him. Cleveland, obviously, who the hell knows what's going on there. New Orleans is interesting, right? They just committed to Tyler Shuck for the rest of the year. You got to imagine that they're going to be, somewhat interested. I mean, they invested a second rounder in him. Like, they're not going to just, dump him after 2 weeks. But if he doesn't show anything, maybe it's like a Jimmy Clausen situation where, second round pick has some potential, but okay, we're looking at a great quarterback prospect right in the face. We're going to go with Cam Newton, that type of thing. So, yeah, I don't want to just say Jets need a quarterback, so we're 100% going to take one in the first round. It depends, man. It really.
To me, it's me. You have to I'm just kind of saying it was a foregone conclusion. They're going to draft somebody next year within the first 2 rounds. Like, you have to find a guy.
Okay, cool.
Not taking like a 6th round flyer. Like, in the 6th round, we're going to take Brady Cook's cousin. No, we're going to get a guy that's a lot more highly touted to have competition and hopefully establish us something at this point. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're going from quarterback, which complete, we're in the market, we're going to be looking for something. The offensive line gets interesting because a lot of people are saying the Bengals defense wasn't really that good, didn't put a lot of pressure on them because, the Jets were giving up 6 sacks a week, 9 sacks, all these different things. And then this weekend you saw Membu mauling people. Olu looked great. The Jets were dominating the line of scrimmage with 502 yards of total offense, all these great things. But if you look at the entire first half of the season, how would you assess them? Because I think you're trying to figure out, is it the scheme? Is it communication? Is it just lack of talent? Like, they give up a lot of sacks, man, where it was concerning. They couldn't really establish anything. Is it the quarterback not getting rid of the ball in time? Like, how would you evaluate the offensive line after all these games?
I mean, it's kind of funny because the offensive line, I actually think has been as expected, right? Understanding that the best one is hurt in Elijah Vera Tucker, right? We were really counting on him. And so, yes, we have Tippmann moving over, but essentially what you're looking at, you have a starting group, right? A starting 5, and your best one's gone, and your starting right guard's playing out of position, and you are down to a backup center. Luckily for the Jets, that center is, in my opinion, playing some solid football. No one's saying that Josh Myers is a top elite level center, but he's definitely playable, definitely serviceable. I think they've looked great in the running game, and that's
true.
The Jets' MO here. That's what they want their identity to be. So I'm cool with that. Sweet. Pass protection, that feels it. You know what it kind of feels like with pass protection? When guys have one-on-ones, they do okay, but they get screwed with blitz pickup.
Blitz pickup is terrible.
And they get screwed with going up against exotic defensive looks, right? Avero, Carolina Panthers, got after Justin Fields. Vance Joseph, Denver Broncos, got after Justin Fields. Todd Bowles. Yep. 3, and all these defenses are odd man fronts. The only one that didn't really affect the, passing game all that much was Mike Tomlin's defense. And you could say, okay, well, the Jets did run the ball so much, and they were also having Fields run so much. So, and also maybe Pittsburgh's defense was just older and rusty, game 1, Cam Hayward and stuff. So I don't know, or rusty Cam Hayward, I should say. But I think overall, the offensive line it's good enough. It's good enough. And I also think they're only going to get better with time. If you slap another 5 games on Membu's, under his belt, right? All those practices, all those meetings, all the, whatever, weight room sessions, just everything. I think Membu and Olu are just going to continue to get better. Just not necessarily week after week, but just, quarter after quarter of the NFL season, year after year. And I said this in the recap video, man, like, because Olu did such a good job, against Cincinnati, and he was going up against Hendrickson, at times Shamar Stewart.
Yeah, but Henderson was kind of banged up too. Like, he was definitely not. He was kind of a shell of himself, but Olu was very physical and did a really good job.
Yeah, but I don't want to look at Olu and say, oh, well, he did play against a horrible defense. It's 31 and 31st in so many different categories, and he was just. Maybe the numbers inflated because he's going up against an undrafted free agent, 4th stringer.
Yeah.
No, he went out against, he
did well.
A good Bengals group. 22 years old, and then Membu, 21. 10 years can go by. So if you're 20, think about you at age 30. Or if you're 30, think about you at age 40. Olu and Membu could still literally be the starting 2 tackles of this football team and essentially be like right at the end of their prime. 31 years old, 30 years old. That's crazy to think about.
Now, I'm kind of thinking that they keep Tippmann at guard. Like, I don't think Tippmann ever goes back to center at this point. I think if you could bring back Simpson, right, which is not crazy, you keep Tippmann at guard. You have 4/5 of your line here, and if you look for an upgraded center, your offensive line can be set for next year, right? Are you thinking that, or are you thinking you want to move Tippmann back to center?
I see. I don't really like what I've seen from Tippmann out of the pass protection game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like, he's built to play guard. Like, if you look at him, like, physically, the height and everything,
Yep.
like, he fits the mold for a guard. And you can argue he's too big for center, where he gets too upright at times. Maybe he can get driven back. Maybe when he's, he is going up against like the odd man fronts, where you're going up against these massive nose tackles
Yeah.
that can really do a good job of not only just strength, right, just power, pushing him back, bull rushing him, but doing a really good job of getting leverage underneath Tippmann just from a natural standpoint. So it's almost like if his technique isn't perfect, he is exploited at center. But I think whether you want to put him at guard or center, he's definitely a starter in the National Football League for us or for any other team. I think the question is, I look at Tippmann, right? If I'm Aaron Glenn, if I'm Darren Muji, I would probably ask Tippmann, where do you feel more comfortable moving forward? I would have my own personal assessment as the season goes on. And then I'm also looking at what's out there, because this is not the best draft for interior offensive line. This is not the best draft, or really offensive line as a whole. Like, it's not the best, right? And John Simpson's a free agent, like you said. AVT's a free agent. Josh Myers is going to be a free agent. Basically, I believe the entire backup tackle room, all those guys are going to be free agents. So yeah, we have a lot of work to do with depth on the offensive side.
I kind of think that the Jets want Tippmann at guard because they brought in Myers, and automatically it's a competition, and it just felt like they were pushing it. Like, that's kind of what the direction they wanted to go. Maybe because of Justin Fields and a familiarity. I'm not sure. That's kind of where they go. So I don't know. I mean, I'm just guessing here. I have no idea, but I kind of get that feeling that they want Tippmann to stay there. You have, like, I think somebody said in here, you have the continuity playing next to Membu, getting used to him. It's like, all right, work on your chemistry, work on your communication, keep building along, young guys working together, and you go from there. Where it gets interesting now is the running back position, because we all love Braylon Allen. Unfortunately, he got hurt returning kicks. I'm not going to get into that again because it'll piss me off. But we wanted to see big things out of him this year. We didn't see it. Now you have Breece Hall coming off a monster game, seeing like the old school Breece, 2 touchdowns, 100 yards, looked explosive, looked dynamic. He threw a pass, which was an incredible play call.
Yep.
And now it's like, again, winning is a great deodorant. Going into this game, everybody's like, you know what? We could trade Breece. I don't care. 4th round pick. We move on. He's not coming back anyway. Now you see that, and you're like, you know what? It's Breece with a young quarterback next year is a building block. He's a valuable piece to have. We want that dynamic playmaker to help our young quarterback along with Mason Taylor and everybody else. How do you handle Breece at the trade deadline, man? It's a week from today, actually. 4:00 a week from now.
Yeah.
This can be, is he on the market? And if not, and the one thing I keep thinking about is Aaron Glenn keeps talking about this culture, and we want to compete, we want to buy in. And it's like he's coming off a game like that for the Jets to walk in the locker room and be like, you know what? By the way, we just traded Breece Hall for a 4th round pick to the Kansas City Chiefs or to the Cowboys, whatever. Will that suck the life out of the locker room? Be like, listen, man, he's one of our best players on offense. You just trade him away for peanuts. You're not really about winning right now. You're talking, you're talking one way, doing the opposite. Is that a factor in this trade deadline?
I don't really think so, man. I mean, I think really the question comes down to this: does Darren Muji, Aaron Glenn, Tanner Engstrand see Breece Hall as a long-term fit? If the answer is yes, then extend him, and extend him now. If the answer is no, then you trade him.
Yep.
You don't say, I don't know. And then I mean, frankly, that would be malpractice if the Jets don't know what they want to do with Breece. Yeah, exactly. Like, if Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn are sitting there right now saying, we actually don't really know what we want to do with Breece Hall, it's inexcusable. You've had months to figure it out. He's one of the premier players on this team. You either want him or you don't. And if you don't want him, you get ahead of it and you trade him for a mid-round pick, because that will come in handy. And the Jets don't have a 3rd-round pick this season. So if we could pick up another 4th or something, cool. And also, if you are one of these teams that's starting to load up for the playoffs, Chiefs, Chargers could potentially use a running back. There was a report that came out that they would be interested. A couple other teams, I think all of a sudden you can maybe have a bidding war. And again,
But
this
now,
is under the assumption that the Jets aren't going to re-sign him.
well, yeah, I guess I have a couple questions because I think the first question will have to be is you assume they're talking to him. Is the first question, Brees, do you even want to be here? Do you want to endure this rebuild?
That's a good
Are you,
point. Yeah.
are you committed to this organization long term? Because it seems like he's getting really frustrated. He's tired of losing. I don't blame him, dude. Like, this market's not easy. Do you even want to be here? Like, so that's the second thing. Second thing is, what are his contract demands too, right? Because you got to figure you have the franchise tag option or transition tag is one thing, which is what, 14 million bucks, 11 million bucks, whatever it is. It's like, do you want to be the top 5 paid running back in the NFL? Like, what are you looking for? And if that's out of their price range, like, all right, listen, man, we're not ready to pay you X amount of dollars a year. It's not a fit. We have to move on. Is that kind of your approach too? Because you got to say, okay, listen, do we like you? Great. Do you want to stay here? How much money do you want? Even if the Jets have cap space, they also have a lot of holes too. So that there seems like there's a lot of different ways this can go. And it's really, really interesting because we all like him. We all respect him, but it's all about, the future now.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So right now, Brees Hall is like the 23rd, 24th highest paid running back in football at just over $4 million cap hit for the season. If you want to re-sign him, right? So that's a second contract. And you like the running backs, like you can tell like with agents too, like at the running back position, you want to maximize that second deal, like coming out of the rookie deal, because the chances of you getting a better third contract are very, very slim. Like once, RBs hit a certain age, they like the value in the market, teams just don't want to pay it. So, Brees, I don't think is going to take a team friendly deal or like some sort of hometown discount.
Nope.
And so like, if you look at the top, or the highest paid running backs, like on average per season, as opposed to like the total value, Saquon's the highest at 20.6. McCaffrey's second at 19. Derrick Henry sitting at 3 at 15. Jonathan Taylor, 14 mil. Alvin Kamara, 12.2. Josh Jacobs, 12. James Cook, 11.5. And it just kind of trickles out from there.
So now where would you rank him? Is he kind of like a James Cook kind of player? Because I think with Brees, we're banking on a much, like say going forward, much better quarterback play, much better playmakers, much better play calling where he's going to be featured more in the offense and can do more. Would you consider him a James Cook kind of player where he's in that 12 million per year? Because I don't think he's above that. He's not Jonathan Taylor. Like he hasn't had like 3 1,000-yard seasons and 15 touchdowns a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you. Because the reality is Brees Hall has not had an 1,000-yard rushing season.
Nope.
He's missed time as well. Let me just pull up the exact number of games that he has missed, just so we get that right. So rookie year, we played in 7 games, played in every game, 2023, missed 1 game in 2024. You know what? Scratch that. He's healthy enough. He's good enough to be on the field, weekly. I mean, honestly too, if you take a look at Brees, he's probably the starting running back, I would say, on 26 teams.
Okay. So if listen, that's the case. So saying that, if he does, say you do trade him, and next year you come into the league season with Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, and a say 4th round running back, is that good? Is Braylon Allen a starting running back in the NFL? Like, can you move on from Brees and have not a huge setback where it's like, man, we're really missing this offense is going to blow right now? Or can you say, listen, $11 million a year is a lot, $14 million a year is a lot. We need to allocate that elsewhere. We feel comfortable with what we already have on this roster, and we can add a later round guy to just add a spark.
Personally, I just think 12 million is just a little too much for me. Like if the Jets re-sign Brees Hall 3 years, 30 million at 10 mil per season,
he's not taking it though, I don't think.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like that is something I would be open to. I mean, I guess another thing too that we have to factor in is like the Jets do have $91 million in cap space before any trades, right?
Yep.
In the event that we trade Quinnen, right, we have like another 20 plus that opens up. So there's like, not saying I want to trade Quinnen, but there are possibilities of opening up more cap space on top of the 91. So, let's just say we can crank it up to 100 mil, right, with a couple cuts, right, or maybe even a restructure or something like that. If we can get it up to 100 mil and then Brees Hall signs, a contract at $10 million per season. So that's literally 10% of your cap space. That to me is a pretty good bang for your buck as far as like overall value to the team. But I think, like you mentioned before, and this is a really good point, does Breece Hall want to be here? Because you don't want to be in a Myles Garrett situation where he resigns, he takes the money. Yes, he's a really good player. And yes, he might individually put up good numbers. But maybe if the team starts losing, I don't want to be seeing like cryptic social media posts or maybe a trade request in year one of the deal. Of course, that's a big hypothetical, but yeah, I think if Breece wants to stay and the Jets want him around, then you got to bring him back. I don't really, I'm not anti-Breece. I love Breece.
So I love Breece too. To me, it's about building the team and finding your building blocks going forward. So now, see the trade deadline, they don't trade him. Like, you know what? We want to compete this year. We want to run it out and see what we can do with this offense. At the end of the year, I don't let him. If you keep him on the roster to the end of the season, I don't let him test free agency. To me, it's like then you have to tag him.
Nope.
Like you have to tag him.
No.
You don't have to.
I would not tag the running back position at all. At that point, I would just get, because the extension would,
then he's gonna walk.
Be almost. Well, if when's the deadline? Tuesday, November 4th, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's November 5th and Breece Hall is on the roster, you are negotiating an extension. You're not just letting this guy walk, because the franchise tag, I believe, would be more expensive in most cases than just re-signing him to
right. But that's what I'm saying. That's why it's kind of like, it's interesting, because if you don't trade him, it's like you better get a deal done, because the last thing I want is at the end of the year, he's like, you know what, I'm going to test free agency, bidding war, he's gone, and you said, well, maybe we'll get a compensatory pick. No, like so that's like, everybody keeps mentioning the tag. I kind of like, just something with the tag, it's like, I understand why you would use it. And I also think Breece Hall's the kind of player that I'd probably hold out. But you could tag me, and I'm not going to be here all training camp. I'm not going to be here all OTAs either. So,
I think the franchise tag for running backs it's got to be like 12 mil. Yeah, I want to say
Armand said it was like 14 or like 11 and 14 or something like that.
Yeah, and so that's just one season. And really, like, what's the point of a franchise tag for a team like the Jets?
Exactly, I agree.
So you're gonna, like, the tag is. I mean, I don't want to say it's like a beautiful tool, but like it could really be utilized for like a win now team that can't come to an extension, but they don't want to risk losing him. You tag him and you can kind of extend those contract extension talks while he's also contributing to your team. So for a 1-7 Jets team now, you either make the decision, boom, I want you, you're here, let's start talking to contract extensions here. Or if you don't want him, if Breece doesn't want to be here, whatever the case is, whichever side doesn't want it, or maybe it's both sides, then you deal him and you get a draft pick and you don't have to worry about it. And then you could just address it in the draft.
Yeah. And listen, I understand everybody that wants Breece back, which listen, he could be your running back for the young quarterback and all this. I understand all that. But to me, it comes down to the financials. Does he want to be here and all those other things? Like, I don't want to grossly overpay him and then regret this contract a year from now either. So it's a really interesting dynamic to see how the Jets handle this, man, especially with trade deadline a week away. And he's coming off a great game too, which is kind of, how it usually works with this team. And the other thing too is the one thing it seemed like when Aaron Glenn took over this team, he loved Braylon Allen, man, where he was like, this guy is the exact kind of running back we want. A bulldozer, fast, physical, nasty, loves the game of football, team player, all like he kept praising him endlessly. And unfortunately he got hurt. It was like, damn it. Like you wish he had a chance to run this offense all year long and see what he can do behind it. And that's the other factor too, is what's their evaluation of Braylon Allen too. When they say, listen, you know what? Instead of giving Breece $13 million a year for 4 years, we really like our young running back, especially looking at what Isaiah Davis did on Sunday too.
Yeah. And, if we think back, like running back was one of those deep positions that we had. Like, I mean, think about just like how good Donovan Edwards looked, in preseason. So I don't know, man. I mean, running back is just one of those positions where you can find them pretty easily. And if you have a great offensive line that is, they're opening up holes, and the Jets already have a couple of young ones already on the roster. By the way, I'm looking at the number here. The non-exclusive franchise tag for running back, which is the franchise tag that we're always talking about, the non-transition tag, it's 11.9. So $12 million. It's 11.95. So just under 12 mil. At that point, I think I would rather just give Breece Hall a 3 or 33 mil at $11 million per season
assuming he
as
takes
opposed
it.
to
That's
a 1 year, you know.
Yeah, and that's assuming he takes it. That's the thing. It's like I think, and Breeze thinks very highly of himself, and rightfully so. He's got great talent. And if I'm that guy, I want to get paid as much as I possibly can make. I'm just not sure the Jets should give him that kind of money. And that's just me being, the Jets aren't one player away. They have a lot of holes. I kind of have faith in Braylon Allen a little bit, which could be blind faith. Who knows? So it's going to be a really interesting decision. I'm sure a week from now, we'll be talking about this. I can't believe they did this. I can't believe they did that. And look at the aftermath of it. But tough decision for Muji and Glenn. Another one is you go to the tight end position now, where you go in there with a lot of youth. Mason Taylor, Jeremy Ruckert, Stone Smart, who I have no idea who that guy is. But you look at Mason Taylor is developing slowly but surely as the weeks play out. And he played phenomenal on Sunday, man. He mossed for a touchdown. He had a big catch on fourth down, a big first down catch. I mean, he's getting physical in the run game. He's blocking better. And if you're looking for progress and development, I think you're truly seeing it with him. And that's a perfect asset and safety valve for a young quarterback. So you're happy with that. But then it's like after that, Rucker had a big catch too. But it's like you almost want to see more at that tight end position. And I'm thinking that's probably going to be the priority going forward. But how would you evaluate the group as a whole after, these games?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I think really when you draft Mason Taylor, you're not drafting this George Kittle immediately. He was the youngest player in the entire class at 20 years old. He was the youngest player.
Yep.
And if you're talking about, and I don't even really care what position, but if you're talking about you're drafting a player and he is 20 years old coming out of the class, chances are he's probably going to be better in year 2 than year 1, and year 3 compared to year 2. Year 4, he's just going to continue to get better, in my opinion. Ask LSU fan. I don't know if there's any LSU fans hanging in the chat, but ask an LSU fan if they miss Mason Taylor. The answer is yes, over and over and over and over again. The LSU passing game has struggled this season, and Mason Taylor was always kind of this security blanket for Nussmeier, right? Now, ironically enough, Nussmeier's coming out. Maybe he could be a mid-round target for the Jets. Yep. Some people are higher on him than others. Reminds me a lot of Jimmy Garoppolo, but I think whoever's playing quarterback for the Jets, Mason Taylor, dude, like he's someone who I just view as kind of this long-term project is not the right word, but that sounds like a negative, but I don't mean it to sound negative. I know what you're saying. Basically, like his runway of getting better is a lot longer than maybe drafting a 24-year-old.
Yep.
And then, behind him, I like Jelani Wood's potential and I like his size. I would like to maybe utilize him a little bit more than we do. Jeremy Ruckert, I think, will be gone. Yeah, Stone Smart, I have no idea. And then Andrew Beck isn't really utilized that much at the tight end position either.
No, he's been the prototypical fullback, a lot of blocking, every once in a while catch a touchdown or a catch, but he's not. They may bring him back, but I think he's just more of like a role player. But I agree, Mason Taylor's a guy. He's a long-term guy. He's like, listen, he's going to grow into his body. He's going to fill out, get more muscular, get more into NFL shape, and move forward. So you have the tight end position, work in progress. Now, here's a really good question for you. How would you evaluate Tanner Engstrand after all these games? Because we saw some good, we saw some very bad, we saw very predictable, we saw times where it looked like he was overwhelmed and he didn't adjust to the quarterback and to the defenses. Todd Bowles kept calling the same blitz every time. They weren't adjusting to it. Like, how would you evaluate Engstrand? Because you got to give him credit. Like, I'll be honest, the 2-point conversions completely shocked me on Sunday. Then you look at the halfback pass was remarkable. I was shocked he did that. You're seeing the gadget plays, you're seeing things, but is it just he's learning on the fly as well, where it's like it's hard to evaluate because he's a work in progress. First time doing it, all these moving parts with you're losing all your receivers. Garrett Wilson's out. Justin Fields is struggling. Like, how do you assess him after this time?
Yeah, I mean, I think Tanner, he's not a perfect offensive coordinator, but who really expected him to be one? I think if you were to ask 32 general managers right now, like tonight, how successful can your offense be if you have a quarterback or a question mark at the quarterback position?
Yep.
Your best offensive lineman's hurt in AVT. One of the featured backs in Braylon Allen is hurt. Your top end wide receiver in Garrett Wilson is hurt. You're rolling out a rookie tight end. And, on top of that, the overall depth has been somewhat of an issue at wide receiver in other positions. So
big issue.
I think all 32 teams or all 32 OCs would be like, I would ideally like to have a quarterback, or I would ideally like to have my team healthy, or, a team that's stock full of wide receiver talent. my offense would look better in that case. So it's tough to judge Tanner. And that's actually one of the reasons why I was so hard on Steve Wilkes and Glenn as opposed to Tanner in that losing stretch
Yep. I
up
agree.
before the Denver Bronco game where the defense started, to turn it around, because Tanner is he's a young guy doing it for the first time, and he has hardly anything to work with defensively. Not only have you been there and done that, but you're rolling out a roster with first round picks all over the place, big contracts, marquee, household names. Yeah, why the hell is this defense struggling? Why does it look so behind the curve? Like if I walk down the street and I see just like a random, I don't know, Ravens fan, and I say, "Hey, what are your thoughts on the Jets offensive coordinator? Do you think he's any good?" He'd probably say, I mean, I don't really know. Like the Jets offense doesn't really have much talent. Are they really running a system or, calling a system that is, because like you hear the term all the time, like, oh, build the system around the players. I mean, the Jets have a lot of just kind of random
Fringe. Yep.
Like, is the system really going to be built around a 20-year-old Mason Taylor right now? Is it really going to be built around like Lazard or Josh Reynolds or Jeremy Ruckert? Not really. It just feels like it's built off of the running game. It's a simple offense, in my opinion. They're not really doing many like super complex things or anything. It feels very much like when Garrett's out there, throw his way a lot. He doesn't really need to be schemed open. But we're gonna, our bread and butter is gonna be running the football, time of possession, control the clock, beat down the defense. But I don't know. I just feel like, and granted, you can give me the worst offensive coordinator in football. If I give that guy a quarterback, if I give him a number one wide receiver, if I give him a great team, the offense will probably work. Every offensive coordinator or every system is designed to work. The only one, ironically enough, the only system that I was just so stunned at watching, like going back and like rewatching games, Nathaniel Hackett, like where the plays are literally just not designed. And I don't want to sound like I'm smarter than Hackett here. It's his system, and he's held tons of NFL jobs, but like there were times where wide receivers are like the route concepts are going right into each other, or they're running the same thing, and it's just receivers are looking at each other like, was the pass going for you or for me? I don't know. It was just a mess. But I think with more talent, Ingstrand's offense will look better. But to be fair, if you don't like Ingstrand, you can make that argument for every OC in football. So
yeah, I think the thing is too, is like he's learning on the fly. As long as he keeps adjusting as the season plays out, where you're seeing like your 4th and 2s, don't do a pitch pass, like don't do a pitch out to the running back. Like you're seeing him adjust as it goes. Like don't make the same mistakes in week 1, in week 14 or week 13. Like start assessing what your quarterback can and can't do, what your offensive line can and can't do, and then move forward. So he's a work in progress, and not having a quarterback that's consistent is a killer for anybody, dude. Like if you can't trust your quarterback to throw the ball, doesn't really matter what the play calling is, which kind of transitions over to the wide receiver group, which Garrett Wilson is Garrett Wilson. He is a star. You wish you can get better out of him, but he's hindered by the quarterback play and the offense. But the rest of the group has been interesting because, like, on Sunday, Isaiah Williams was shocking to how good he was. You had Tyler Johnson contributing. And it's like, okay, are we finding pieces for next year? That's kind of what I'm more focused on. It's like you want to see more out of Arian Smith. He had a big catch, but, like, I'm not sure why they don't use him in, like, sweeps and screen passes, whatever else. And then you kind of want to see if you can get Brandon Smith up, Skinner, Pritchett. Like, get the young guys out there, man. Like, Alan Lazard, while he's a great blocker, is not much of a pass catching threat, even though he did probably create like 3 penalties, on defense last week. But it's just the wide receiver group came in as a concern. I think remains a concern going forward too, especially with Josh Reynolds is now on IR. It's been a mess, man.
Definitely. I mean, wide receiver, it's going to be such a big need once the offseason hits, right? Free agent targets, targets in the draft. Here's the good news though. Let me actually just pull up this quick list. Just, free agents to watch, right? And granted, some of these guys can be re-signed and whatnot, but Jawan Jennings, instantly wide receiver 2 on this team.
Yep.
He's played outside. He's played inside. He's been the wide receiver 1 for the 49ers when Ayuk.
They cut Brandon Smith? Come on,
Did they?
Man. Probably gonna bring him back to the practice squad, I'm guessing. Is that what they're trying to do?
Probably. I mean,
Come on,
I
man.
would guess so. That's another just one of those random moves. If they don't bring him back, kind of like Leonard Taylor a little bit. But yeah, so you got Jawan Jennings out there, who I think is
Yeah.
totally like you could resign. You can give him a contract for 11-12 million dollars per season. And by the way, dude, just for context, because that might sound like a lot. Like, oh my god, 12 million to wide receiver, or 13, 14 million for to a wide receiver. Lazard
Ugh.
signed 4 years, 44 million. Corey Davis, 3 years, 45 mil. 3
But-
years, 45 mil.
Can I give you a caveat to that?
Yes.
The one now, not $10 million is not a lot by no means. I think with the Jets, I think in this scenario, you're going to pay a Jets tax, because if you're a wide receiver, you want money and you want opportunity, you want winning. Most likely you're coming to a Jets team that's going to have a second-year offensive coordinator and a rookie quarterback, most likely, right? Your starting quarterback's be a young kid that you're going to have to endure the growing pains with as you develop the offense. If you're a Jawan Jennings, like, hey, listen, man, I'll be that guy for you, but compare this to going to the Chiefs, I want to get paid a little bit more for that. I think there's going to be a Jets tax for wide receivers coming here just because of the instability, kind of with the coaching staff, but definitely at the quarterback position.
Yeah, and so it's cool that you brought that up, because that's why I actually led with Jawan Jennings. He wants to get paid. The 49ers have asked him to do everything. They've they went out and they paid Brandon Ayuk. They went out and they drafted Ricky Pearsall in round 1. It feels like they pay everyone outside of Jawan Jennings. And look, Jawan Jennings is not Jamar Chase or anything, but he would definitely help out this team.
100%.
He makes contested catches. He could hurt teams over the middle of the field on the outside. I like Jennings a lot, dude. And Steve Wilkes actually knows him, right? Because he was there in that breakout Super Bowl performance, right? Wilkes was the DC, so he knows behind the scenes, like, hey, how hard of a worker is he? How good of a teammate is he? Is he showing up late? How is he on the practice field? And so, if Jennings, and same could be said too with Jacoby Myers, who's also set to be a free agent. Although I do think New England probably makes the most sense for him, with Josh McDaniels and him being, a former Patriot and everything. But I think if the Jets were smart, or if Jaramuji was smart, if of course they wanted these players, which again I think they should. But when free agency opens up, if you blow the doors out of if you because like these general managers get like ballpark numbers on like where. It's not just like, all right, we'll pay this guy, I don't know, 17 mil. Does that sound right? It's like it's a pretty calculated approach. Like the numbers are out there, right? On what guys could be looking for and whatnot. If you just go $1-2 million over what they're asking for. So if Jawan Jennings is like, I want, $12-13 million a season, and the Jets go 15 mil, 2-year, 3-year deal at 15 mil per season, Jennings could almost just be like, done. And be that free agent signing that signs like 5 minutes in when the window opens. I mean, you see that every year, right?
But that's a position of need though for Jets. That's why it makes a lot of sense. Like we're kind of haggling over like the value of Breece Hall and the money. To me, wide receiver is such an enormous hole in this team, especially if you have a young rookie quarterback. Dude, I'm down. Like you got to overpay for a guy you truly believe in that can make a difference like this. I'm down with it, dude. Jets tax, fine, pay it. You have all the cap space. That's a position where I'm like, let's definitely do this. You know what I mean? But then how do you consider like, is the rest of the year an audition for the guys like Tyler Johnson, or like, do they have a chance of sticking around? Or do you think it's like, listen, this is just you're like a hold the fort guys, but we're going to completely overhaul this group next year?
Yeah. I mean, personally, yeah, and I don't have anything against, a lot of these players. I just don't like, say, for example, like Josh Reynolds being the team's wide receiver 2. I would much rather, I'd feel way more comfortable if he was the wide receiver 4, I think that is the role that, he belongs in. It is a bit of a strong statement, but, like Lazard and Tyler Johnson, these guys to me should not be like, in passing plays, in the passing routes, or in the passing concepts and everything for the majority of the game. And one thing that's really interesting to keep in mind, just on the topic of wide receivers here. So Alec Pierce was brought up. That's another unrestricted free agent.
Yep.
That is someone who can help the Jets big time and be a great, great compliment to Garrett Wilson. But when Garrett's healthy, like he plays a lot in the slot. And this is something that I think needs to be talked about a little bit more.
I agree.
Because he plays so much in the slot, we're actually going to need 2 wide receivers,
100%.
not just 1, dude. Because if we sign Alec Pierce,
Absolutely.
great. But who's your other primary guy on the outside?
Yep.
Reynolds again, Lazard again? No, like I need 2 upgrades. So if we can go get whatever, Juwan Jennings or Alec Pierce, and then come back and maybe round 4 or round 2 might be a little rich, but round 2, and assuming we maybe go quarterback up at the top of the draft, and now he's stepping into a situation where it's just like, okay, healthy Garrett, Alec Pierce, and a brand new rookie that's going to be an upgrade hypothetically. So I don't know. I just don't think we just only need that one guy. I think we need 2.
I 1000% agree. Like I want to stockpile the offense as much as possible with legitimate game-breaking talent, explosive talent. Get caught up to the rest of the NFL where the Jets still aren't there yet. You have like an inspiring piece in Mason Taylor, Garrett Wilson, but they need a lot of help. Now you go to defensive side of the ball, it gets really interesting because a lot of big names, you mentioned earlier, a lot of big names, a lot of big contracts, a lot of talent, and a lot of terrible results where you're giving up a tremendous amount of yards, no sacks, no turnovers. You could blame Glenn. You could blame Wilkes. You could blame the players. It's a mess. Trade deadline is here. And some of these names are interesting because I'm not completely opposed to it. And the one that comes up first for everybody is Quinnen Williams, where it depends on who you want to believe. He's getting double teamed and triple teamed. He's making a big impact. You just don't see it. Some are saying he's good, but not great. He's not the all-pro that he was. But the thing is, what is he now? What is he going to be going forward? And what can you get for him? If you get offered a first-round pick, do you get tempted for it? So how would you assess Quinnen Williams, man? Because I love him, dude. He's a great Jet. He's been a very good soldier for the team, an ambassador. But look at the contract, look at the player, and if you can get a first-round pick and move on from him, would you do it?
I think I would want more. Let me ask you right now, if you are, there's so many teams that could use Quinnen, right? Baltimore,
Cowboys,
Dallas. Yeah. Dallas is the one that makes the most sense. We've heard them linked to Quinnen before. They have 2 first-round picks, so it's easier to dump one to go get an upgrade. Because, for example, if Baltimore says, we'll give you a first for Quinnen, or if the Jets maybe call Baltimore and they say, hey, we want a first-round pick plus something else, the Ravens are like, okay, our first pick in the draft is going to be like in the 60s, in round 2. Dallas, they can flip a first, get a massive, top 5 D tackle. Hold on a second. Sorry, a bike was going by. You can hear it? All right. Yeah, every night, dude, around this time, he comes out. But if you're Dallas, you can dump one of those first, get a top 5 D tackle, top 10, depending on who you talk to, and then be totally fine and have your normal first-round pick like nothing ever happened. Yeah. So you're essentially trading like Parsons for, Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams. So, and I guess it would be some, another pick as well. But personally, if I'm Darren Muji, I'm keeping it. Like, I love Quinnen. He's 27 years old. He can play in a 4-3 and a 3-4. I don't really feel like he needs to come off the field ever. He can take on double teams. He has pass rushing upside. Not many defensive tackles actually have the, the real talent to secure 8-9 sacks rushing from the inside.
But he hasn't done it though.
Well, he's shown the ability to rush the passer
in a contract year.
But he's still done it.
Yeah, Lazard, okay, we want to play that he's still done it. Alan Lazard's done a lot of things. He played with Aaron Rodgers. He's still done it.
Well,
but the thing is, I'm not hating on Quinnen, but you're trying to find, is he a building block, a legit game-breaking talent on the defensive line that you say, you know what, he has to be here next year? Because the way I look at it is this defensive line for the last couple of years has been completely disappointing. Now, part of that is because Joe Douglas completely screwed it up, getting rid of all the guys, whether it was Rankins, John Franklin Myers.
Nothing.
No
point doing that.
But then now it's like everybody likes Harrison Phillips, everybody likes Briggs, everybody likes Jermaine Johnson, everybody likes Will McDonald. Okay, everybody likes all these guys. They're not getting any sacks and not stopping anybody. So what's the problem? Is it the players or is the scheme? Like, we can love the players, but if we're not getting results. And to be honest, what happened with Quinnen last year, dude? It's been the same thing. So I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying, like, if you have to make a decision, are we as fans, we tend to overvalue our players and overrate them. Is he falling in that category now where he had those big splash years? He looked great on Hard Knocks when Aaron Rodgers was there, but, and then the other thing too is the rotations during the game make you insane, especially the first quarter where they're out of the game in the first quarter. They played 2 snaps.
Yeah,
dude. It's just
sorry. Go ahead.
No, but it's just weird how they handled the defensive line to begin with the rotations. But is he still that dominant figure where everybody says he is undisputed top 3 defensive tackle in football?
Well, there's really 2 ways that you can kind of frame or look at, at a like if you want to take the optimistic route, say the Jets trade Quinnen Williams. Why does this make sense? Why is this like? What's the benefit? What's the silver lining? If you want to take that argument or look at it from that side, you can say, okay, well, right off the bat, we're getting sweet draft compensation. We're getting a first-round pick. Darren Muji has shown the ability to acquire players. Harrison Phillips, Briggs. Brownlee, Membu, Mason Taylor. I'm going to go out and say Mawanoa has been a good pick and Malachi Moore has been a good pick. Azari Thomas, sample size too small, but I like what we've seen so far. In 1 year of a general manager, and I can list off that amount of players, I feel comfortable with him drafting moving forward. I don't feel like, oh my God, I don't want to give this GM, draft picks. Like he's just going to screw it up. I don't really feel that way with Muji. So we're going to be getting extra draft capital. Awesome. We might get a young player back in return, which would also be really cool. We're clearing $20+ million. So we're going from like 91 up to like 110, 115 or something. You can always use, just like MD's pointing out here, you can always, use that extra capital to replace Quinnen, and you're saving so much money, in doing that. So, there are positives, and you're kind of kickstarting the new regime by like out with the old and with the new, and you're moving forward. You're adding assets and you're clearing money, which now gives you more of a chance to add more assets. So I think from that standpoint, it does make sense. The other side of the coin, Quinnen's 27. He's controllable. Yes, he is paid a lot, but we're not pressed up. If we had $13 million in cap space or $5 million in cap space, I think I would lean more so into moving him. But because we have so much space with him like on the roster already, it's not like we're moving him to clear money. And that's the number one goal. It's not like Michael Carter, where I'm fine taking a 7th. I just want I just want the contract gone. I don't want to deal with it anymore.
I agree.
So we already have so much space, and in my opinion, like I don't know if Aaron Donald kind of ruined it for everybody, but yes, Quinnen is an objectively really good player. I think that's why you always hear offensive coordinators talk about Quinnen Williams, like in the press.
I think we're expecting like 10 sacks a year from him is the problem. We want to see those, 4th and 1, the big stop, the big play, the big impact, like game-changing plays. And we see them in glimpses, but not enough to say he's the best defensive player on our team right now. We assume he is, we say he is, but at times he's like, all right, is he just a guy right now? Like, what's he doing?
Yeah, and also too, man, like defensive tackle is just one of those strange positions. Unless you're lining them up at like straight up nose tackle, deep tackle is one of those harder positions to look at, much like outside corner, free safety, where maybe the popular stats don't really reflect the type of impact that he's having. Like if you're an edge rusher and you're ending the season with 1 sack and 5 QB pressures, we kind of know what type of player or how much you're affecting the pass rush game. If you are Quinnen Williams and you end a game, right, and you have, say, 3 tackles and that's it, but then you turn on the tape and he's taking on double teams, he's freeing up, guys to get one-on-one matchups on the outside. He's giving the other defensive tackle one-on-one matchups. He's creating a problem for offensive coordinators and quarterbacks to deal with. Because free safety, it's the same thing. Like, because they're back there so often. Like,
but that's the question, though. But it's like, but if he's doing that, wouldn't they be making like? And this is to Afram's point, not to pick on Afram, but it's like, okay, everybody raves about Harrison Phillips being next to him, or like all like, if Quinnen's having this huge impact, then why isn't Jermaine Johnson getting 10 sacks, or Will McDonald getting 5 sacks, or somebody else shooting open and getting pressure on the quarterback. Because the Jets aren't getting pressure on the quarterback at all.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And yeah, I'm not saying
And I'm not dumping on Quinn. Like, I
that,
like Quinn as a player. I'm just trying to do devil's advocate because if they did trade him and they got really good value for him, it'd be okay. It sucks to see him go, but I'm like, all right, we're rebuilding, dude. Add more, get more cash space, get more draft picks, and let's move forward. Like, it wouldn't ruin my day. I could say that much.
Yeah, and I will say this, or I guess ask this question: is there, say we get that Dallas Cowboys pick, which I'm going to assume is probably going to be the Packers, first rounder. Is there a player in this draft, whether you know these guys or not, that you realistically believe is going to be better than Quinnen Williams in year 1 to year 4?
You would hope so. Oh, for their like Quinnen's first 4 years or that player's first 4 years?
No, like say the Jets draft a new rookie. It could be, take your pick on whatever position. I guess maybe if the Jets want to do like some sort of Jackson Dart thing, it's quarterback. Okay, you can.
That's what I'm saying. You can say, with that second first round pick, we can go say quarterback, wide receiver. All right, that wide receiver could be a lot bigger impact on a team than Quinnen Williams on defense.
Yeah, but if you want to say, okay, we can just sign a wide receiver and use that pick to go out and draft another defensive tackle. Yeah, it's like I don't like that saying, by the way.
I didn't mean no offense to your cat. Skinning the skunk.
Yeah, you dude, you have one too, man. So you got to be respectful. But no, so like I think I don't know, like a position that I don't really want to see the Jets in is they trade Quinn and they get a pick, say like a late first rounder, say it's Baltimore's, say it's pick 22 or 26 or something, and then they just draft another defensive tackle, and so again the chances of that player being better than Quinnen, not only just in year 1 but throughout the course of the rookie deal, although this could be like a pessimistic way to look at it, I just don't think I don't think.
Well, it's that player plus that cap space you're saving, they can get another player, so it could be 2 players for the price of 1.
Yeah, so I guess the real question would be, if that's the plan, right, when it's all said and done, you are trading Quinnen Williams to save $20 million to basically just get off of his contract.
Well, it's not that. I mean, there's different ways of looking at it. I mean, we can argue about this for hours. But then, okay, but just to go, it's almost been an hour already. The rest of the defensive line, would you consider trading Jermaine Johnson or Will McDonald? To me, I'm just been disappointed with the pass rush in general, but Jermaine Johnson is a player I like a lot because his physicality, his tenacity, everything else. He's been injuries coming off it, but I just expect more. Will McDonald had a big sack on Sunday. No doubt there. He gets pressure off the edge, but is that the cat come barging in right now? So, the cat heard my comment.
Yes.
Cat's like, you said what?
Yeah. No, I think honestly, dude, like, and I love Will McDonald. I love the upside. I love like the freakish athleticism. But I kind of view. Well, I guess let me back up. I think to answer your question about like the Jets' lack of pass rush, I don't like how much Brady McGregor plays. I don't like how much Clemens plays. I think we see a lot of these guys, unfortunately, and it's just not equating to a consistent pass rush. So we have like 2 guaranteed options that just are not getting to the quarterback in McGregor and Clemens. Earlier on in the season, we were seeing a lot of Tyler Barron. He's not getting to the quarterback. Jermaine Johnson was not out there, so he's obviously not getting to the quarterback. Will McDonald, I want to see just a little bit more from, but I think where Will McDonald would really shine are the obvious I think if we take Will McDonald, if we were to get another edge rusher, say the Jets miss out on a top quarterback and they go like Ruben Bain up at the top of the draft, and they go Bain and Jermaine Johnson, and then you have Will McDonald coming in as this rotational fresh leg, just beast flying off the edge on like third and longs, third and mediums. That is really where I feel like McDonald can thrive with how the Jets want to play. But it also kind of feels like he is more so fit for, a solid defense where he's like a
Bryce Huff
line D end.
Yep.
And he has a lot of space to really charge up and then to hit the, hit the top. With McDonald, man, it's just so weird because you feel like his awesome plays all come in one game and then they're just it's like silence for the next couple weeks, and then he has this huge impact. So I would really, and it's no disrespect to McDonald at all, I love Will. I think him as a rotational edge rusher. Like if you just and it's not to say like, oh, you got to bench him.
Nope.
You have to put McDonald on the bench. With how much the Jets have been rotating at D end, like think about when you're just watching the game, you see Brady McGregor out there, replace him with Will McDonald, and then with the starters, you're replacing Will McDonald with a stud, top draft pick, whatever, with a healthy Jermaine out there. Jermaine, I know you asked about Jermaine. I'm not trading him. I would honestly extend him now.
I like Jermaine Johnson a lot, dude. I think he's got so much ability, untapped potential as well, where he's just scratching the surface, man. I think once he gets fully healthy and comfortable in this defense, he could take off. Looking at the linebacker position is really interesting because it's been a huge disappointment. I'm not really sure what happened to Jamien Sherwood. He was benched on Sunday for the first quarter, which means something probably off the field happened that was a problem. And now you're looking at him, he's been just awful. Quincy Williams has been hurt. He's back. Last year was contract. I mean, to me, Sherwood's not going anywhere, whatever. But is Quincy a guy you could say, you know what, the rookie's playing all right, we can move on from him because he's probably the Jets' fastest linebacker, right? He's an emotional leader. He's fiery. He's feisty. Is he a building block where you say, okay, you know what, if we're not going to trade you, we're going to keep it. We're going to give you another year here. Like, how do you handle him?
It pains me to say it, dude, because I love Quincy. But again, it's same deal with Breece Hall. If the Jets don't want him, or if the Jets don't want to re-sign him, then I'm not just letting him walk for nothing at the end of the year. I'm getting at least something of value for Quincy Williams. Atlanta makes sense. 49ers can help a linebacker. I wrote down another team, I think. Let me see. There was a third team that I was thinking of. Buccaneers. I think the Bucs could make some sense. Like Quincy in Todd Bowles' defense, where he's just, full on attack mode. I think it'd be really fun to watch.
Yeah, so you look at the linebackers, and it's just then you go into the secondary, which you talked about it earlier. Where I completely agree with. It's like Brownlee's just been a fine man. He is tenacious. He's physical. Michael Carter is just like, we loved him as a player. We thought he was gonna be a great signing. Like, he's one of the best nickel corners in football. All these things, and he's been pretty much just downhill since there. Where it's like Brownlee's been it's just been great, man. He's been awesome. Brandon Stevens is playing a lot better, which we questioned that, but he's playing a lot better. Sauce was out. A.Z. Thomas came in. I thought, all things considered, for the spot he was thrown into, I thought he did fairly well. Trial by fire. Malachi Moore. The secondary is a work in progress, man. I think Cisco's been terrible. Tony Adams, terrible. But they're trying to find pieces, and I think they have a couple. But I think of anything there in this for a trade deadline and assessing the first half of the season, I think it's Michael Carter's going to probably be traded, man. I don't think he's going to be around there much longer.
Yeah, I think Carter will. I mean, I don't know, like exactly what teams would call. Maybe the Raiders. Again, I guess the Niners would call too with Saleh. I just, I just have no like if the Jets get a 7th round pick back in return, and I love Carter, dude. I hate to say it, but he's just not a fit in this style of defense.
Yeah. Like
when you watch Brownlee play, he's getting in the grill of these receivers. He's bump and run. He's hip to hip. He's aggressive in the running game. He's not afraid to come up and make a hit. And I'm not saying that Carter is, a negative in all those areas, but just when you watch Carter, it just feels very much sit back.
He used to be like that. But he used to be like that. Carter used to be really physical and nasty. He used to be a big hitter. And I don't know what happened to him though.
Well, I'm not so much talking about like when the ball carrier is running at him or running by him or something. More so like pre-snap. I just look at Brownlee. He just looks like a pit bull, just all over these guys, all over them. He's not afraid to get physical, not afraid to really get his hands on a slot wide receiver. I mean, dude, he made the game-winning play against the Bengals.
Yep.
I think Brownlee's just been such a tremendous find. By the way, Titans fans are like all over social media. Why the hell do we trade him? And then Brownlee's just like, he's loving it, right? He loves being the Jets, which is sick. I'll say this: if Quincy Williams is traded, Brownlee's my favorite player on the defense. I love what he brings. I absolutely love what he brings.
No, I love his intensity. I love the way he plays the game. And then you look at the defense as a whole, like if we're assessing the first half of the season or whatever, 8 games, how would you assess Steve Wilks? Because to me, it's been gross. It's like you figure a lot of big names, a lot of talent, a lot of contracts. Ultimately, it's like it seems like there's too much talent to be this bad. They're historically bad. They're pretty much giving up 30 points a week. not getting any turnovers, not getting any sacks. And it's like you're seeing Sherwood play terribly. To me, it's like, yes, I mean, Sunday was terrible too. Like they had 2 good weeks, but it was the Panthers, who aren't like a high-flying offense, and the Broncos, who I think knew the Jets couldn't score any points, that kind of were a little bit conservative while Bo Nix was off. So how would you assess like Wilks and his staff defensively for the first, half of the season?
Overall, it hasn't been good. But what I am excited about with Steve Wilks and this defense, we've at least seen the potential to go out and look, people want to, talk about Carolina as if there's some bottom feeder. I mean, they had the 30-point blowout to the Atlanta Falcons. They were a 4-win team coming out of the Jets. Like we didn't lose to the Titans there, or, it's not like we were going up against some just completely trash team that's projected to win or projected to go like 1-15. I think what we saw against Denver looked a lot better. And I really, for me, I'm looking at the second half of the season, use the bye week to assess what has gone well, what has gone wrong, right? Continue to make changes to the team if need be, right? Getting Michael Carter out, putting Brownlee in, getting Tony Adams out, putting Malachi Moore in.
Yep.
It's difficult to find like mid-season upgrades, but if there's maybe a player out there that could be moved, that's a young player that fits what the Jets want to do, I don't mind giving up a late round pick. The Jets have 2 6th and 3 7ths right now. Like you can package something like that and secure a player. I mean, we got Brownlee for a pick swap. We got Jawan Briggs for a pick swap. I think we only gave up a late round pick for Harrison Phillips. Keon White got dealt for a pick swap just like a couple hours ago.
Yep.
That was, I mean, I like Keon White a lot. I mean, if you just hit up a team and say, hey, we'll just give you 6 straight up, or a 6 and a 7, don't even worry about the pick swap.
Yep.
We could get a really good player there, man. And based off of just what we've seen market transactions, a 6th and a 7th is so much more value than a random pick swap. And so if some of these guys are going for random pick swaps, or, we want to throw in maybe even a little bit more than that, I would not mind if we go out and maybe there's like a safety on the market that Glenn loves. Like a free safety, right? So you can like over time get him more so in the game and get Cisco out, because that's another guy who's just on a 1-year deal. Or if there's like a rotational edge rusher, but
play the young guys, man. Like, but the question I have for you is like, the Wilks hire to me was the one that was like, I understood it, but there was questions surrounding it. As the season's been playing out, I'm questioning it even more, where it's like, it's been disappointing but the question is, if you remember Ulbricht's first year here, he was terrible, dude. And the question going into year 2 with Saleh was, when's Ulbricht getting fired? Because his defense is terrible. Then the defense came around where they had a year in the scheme, plus they brought in all their kind of players. I'm wondering if Wilks in that same thing, or listen, things are terrible right now, but next year when they get guys that actually fit this system, defense could take a significant step up. That's the question I'm wondering about with Wilks. Because other than that, if the season keeps going the way it's going right now, to get 30 points a game and not getting any sacks, he could be a one and done for me. I'm like, dude, you're not doing anything. Like there's still talent here. It shouldn't be barren. So are you in that boat too, where it's like it's still an audition phase for him, or are you thinking this is like a wash year of assessing, evaluating, identifying what we need? Then next year it's have a top 15 defense, or you're out of here.
I hate to be like walking the fence like this, but I think it's a little bit of both. On one hand, I think next year, no matter what, the defense will be better. Steve Wilks is here. He's calling the defense. It will be better.
So no chance he gets fired this year, you don't think?
Well, what I was going to say was, I don't want to say, oh, it's just a wash year. There's good players here, and Wilks is a veteran defensive mind. You got to show us something. And Carolina was good. Denver was good. Sweet. I mean, they gave up so many points to Cincinnati, but to be honest, like that, the Bengals offense, it's hard to go up against. Zach Taylor, offensive-minded coach. They weren't really getting any pressure on Joe Flacco at all. I don't know. Like it was
the
just
run defense was terrible, man. That run defense was gross.
I know it did. I don't know if you watched the Bengals Steelers game the week prior, but it was the same thing, man. Joe Flacco was just lighting up Pittsburgh. I think Jamar Chase caught like a franchise record number of passes or something. Like it was just insane. So we'll have a better, more clear picture by the end of the season. Thankfully, we don't have to make that decision this week.
Yep.
I want to see how we look against Cleveland, right? Which is a completely different offensive look than Cincinnati, right? It's grounded pound, Judkins, it's offensive line trying to maul, defensive linemen just trying to like completely swallow them. And then, how do we look round 2 against the Bills? How do we look against the Ravens later on in the season? How do we look against the Saints? Some New England Patriots, right? We still have those 2 games. Yeah, the Dolphins. So
I think they have a lot to prove, man. He's got a lot to prove, this defense. And the thing is cool. It's like you mentioned, like if you're seeing them try to do some things, but Malachi Moore's learning on the job, AZ Thomas learning on the job, Brownlee's still learning. Like young guys are getting in the mix, young linebackers. That's cool. But if you're going with the same old guys that aren't going to be here next year and still struggling, that makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah, the cool thing about defensive coordinators is like a lot of times if you move on from one, you can find a really, really high quality defensive coordinator out in the open market, which is, always, in my opinion, like should be in the backs of coaches' minds if you have a struggling defense, honestly.
Now, the hardest question of the night. The New York Jets following their first exciting victory of the season, and their coach was happy. The players were very happy for him. How do you evaluate Aaron Glenn so far, man? It's been a rough ride where you saw some good, you saw some bad, you saw some competitive losses, you saw some blowout losses. How do you assess what he's done so far with this team?
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been perfect, obviously. There's been moments that really have rubbed me the wrong way. Even in that Bengals game, there were questionable decisions, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, he's a year 1 head coach and he's trying to learn on the job. He doesn't have all the answers. I don't expect him to have all the answers. I'm not firing Aaron Glenn after the season. It just is what it is. I need to see more from AG continuing on into 2026. That's just.
Yeah, I think he's got a lot to prove even this season, where he's got to learn from mistakes made in the first part of it. The handling of the media to me still makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Being combative, being arrogant, they're living rent-free in his head. I'm not really sure why. He should know better than that by now, but he doesn't. But this defense has to improve. Like he kept talking about, like you self-evaluate over these 2 weeks. You assess everything you've done right, done wrong, and you make changes as you go play the Cleveland Browns. You want him to see him handle things better, man. His handling of Justin Fields to me was unacceptable. He should have been benched. It took him forever to do that. Like you've got to learn and grow and develop. And then towards, say, week 13, 14, 15, I'm like, you know what? This coach has something here. The players are buying in. We're seeing better results. We're not getting blown out every week. I think he's got to show some things here. I'm not saying fire him, but he's got a long way to go, man, in my opinion.
Yeah, I will say one thing that I really.
I'm sorry. One more thing, before I forget. I will give him credit, though, where they said he ripped Engstrand on Sunday and put a little fire in his ass. Like, listen, man, this offense isn't going the way I want it. Be more aggressive, do these things. That I liked about him, where it's like he's not scared to get involved as a CEO-type head coach and tells offensive coordinator, this ain't working. That's a good sign that you want to see moving forward. His aggressive nature is cool, but like you need more of that. You need more improvements, along the way.
Yeah, I want to give 2 separate examples here of just where I think Aaron Glenn really, really was impressive to me this past Sunday. So number 1 was after the game. He could have easily shown up to the presser and had that same combative, this is, I know what I'm doing. You guys have no idea. He didn't do that, bro. You go back and watch some of the Saleh pressers, Joe Douglas pressers, Rodgers in press conferences, Jeff Ulbrich in press conferences. There was this sense of when we win a game, it's time for a parade. We know what we're doing. You guys have no idea. Yep. We don't care what the record is. We won.
Yep.
We won. And it's time for a party. And the NFL better be put on notice. And it was just like all this noise and all this talking about how good we are, puffing our chest out. Glenn could have done as I was filming the recap video, I was thinking, I'm like, I wonder how the Glenn presser is going right now. I wonder if he's just ripping, because a lot of the reporters have just been asking the same questions to try to get a story and stuff. And so I don't blame Glenn 100% of the time, because like I understand the frustration for him if he answers the question, then you hear it again and again and again. Like everyone knows what's happening here, but he could have went up there and just, this is why I I wanted the
I agree.
competitive advantage, or had some sort of, headline clipping type of statement. He just kept it totally professional, and I really, really like that about him. Especially like riding high after your first win. He could have done that,
Yep.
but he didn't, and I like it. And then secondly, in the game, the Jets didn't just win, they came back and they won. At two separate points, they were down 17-3 in the first half.
Yep.
I believe, in the first half. And then in the second half, they were down, 31-16 in the third quarter. And so if the team truly quit, if the team didn't buy into Glenn, they would have laid down. They would have just mailed it in, but they kept on fighting. They kept on fighting. They kept on fighting. It's easy to be a winless team and to just, hey, we're on the road. We're going up against, a talented Bengals squad. We're down by how much? 2 scores.
Yeah.
Let's just get out of here, right? It's pack it up. But they didn't do it, right? They hung in, they fought, and they actually secured the victory. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of the Bucks game.
Yeah.
Again, obviously in the Tampa game, they couldn't close. But in this week, they actually did close. And, I think that's telling to the coaching staff for keeping them in it. Because what do you say to these guys like on the sidelines? What do you say to them in halftime? To keep them in
that fire. Yep, and that's the thing I kept thinking about too. Is like to see how genuinely happy the players were for him when they won. It was like it wasn't like some fake ass like, oh, thanks coach, good job. Like they know how much he's putting into it. He obviously cares, and they didn't quit, dude. And but the thing I think the difference with that is, to be completely transparent with you, is a lot of these players are young, hungry players fighting their asses off. When you see Mason Taylor making these plays, dude, these kids don't know any better, dude. This is their first year in the NFL. They want to score points. They want to win games. Like, a lot of these guys don't have that same old Jets mentality. They don't know any better. A.Z. Thomas, Malachi Moore, they're all, Isaiah Davis has been a little bit, but they're all like fighting and scratching and clawing. And that made it more fun too, where it was like, all right, they want to rally. They're tired of losing. And that's something, but the thing for me, it's like, it was great, but it can't be an anomaly. Like, go beat the Cleveland Browns. Like, this is, like, the Jets notoriously don't handle success well, no matter who the coach is. They win a game the next week, a game that they're excited about. The next week is an absolute dud. Now you have a bye week home game, which is good. A very beatable Cleveland Browns team. Show us what you're really made of here. Like, show us that if you're buying in, like, this is what talking about Brownlee, dude. His speech today was like, listen, man, like, that's the mindset you need for the entire locker room. Like, now we got our first building block win. Let's add 2 or 3 more to it now. And I'm hoping Glenn can now. No, all the hard work's paying off. Like, listen, you keep doing this. This is what's going to happen. We're gonna get these wins. I hope it starts translating, man, because it's just more fun. Like, Sunday was fun to watch this team play, but they got to keep on it, man. And the one thing I like with I'm hoping Glenn does is stay aggressive on offense. Let Justin Fields throw the freaking football downfield. Let him run. Like, on defense, don't be scared to blitz. Like, I'd rather lose it by a blitz than dropping in these lousy ass zones and getting your ass beat. Like, be more aggressive. Your season's over. You're not making the playoffs. Let it all fly and see what happens.
Yeah, just because the Jets won, I don't expect the Jets to win from here on out. Oh, we better beat all these teams now.
But more competitive games, though.
Yeah, but more competitive games. Maybe, some more wins down the stretch. Like, Cleveland is a winnable game. 100% winnable game.
100%.
But, in those put up or shut up types of games against New England and, some of these tougher opponents down the stretch, are you hanging in games or are you just being routed?
Yeah, but that, to my point, is don't go in those games scared to lose. And I had a feeling like they did that in previous games. Like, well, this team's really good. We want to, run the ball 75 times. And, no, go out and give them your best shot. If Justin Fields throws 3 interceptions, so be it, dude. At least go down flying. On defense, be aggressive. Like, don't be timid. And you saw a little bit more of that on Sunday against the Bengals, where they were being a lot more aggressive, especially to close out games. So I'm really hoping to see that's, what more of us to build on going forward and make this team fun to watch for the rest of the year.
Yeah, man, totally.
So that was a long ass show, man. Damn, hour and 20 minutes.
No, hey, Jets won. We're
not used to this. And to see Isaiah Williams be a big contributor, I'm like, wow, like, here I am. I wanted him cut 2 weeks ago. Like, I wanted him out of here, and to see him contribute is cool too. So the last one is Muji, where this is his first year. You mentioned the trades he made, which were all good. Some of the draft picks are all coming on. You have the Sherwood contract, whatever. Sauce got paid. Garrett got paid. How would you assess Muji going to this point? Like, what's your level of confidence going to the trade deadline? Do you feel comfortable with him? Like him and Spielman, to be fair.
I really like Muji.
Confident?
I like him a lot. Yeah, I like Joe Douglas made a lot of moves that I just did not like.
Yeah.
John Idzik made a lot of moves that I just did not like. Darren Muji has made very few moves where I'm like, or maybe he didn't make a move, which I like. For example, I would have added a wide receiver. I still would have done that.
Me too.
I might have been a little bit more aggressive before the year in a potential trade, but if you're Darren Muji, like he's not thinking 1 year fix everything, right? He's thinking I got to get this team back to the playoffs within the span of my 5-year deal. Like I have to get this team better. We're not stepping into the Green Bay Packers. We're not stepping into Baltimore, right? Buffalo, where everything is figured out. No, I have to do everything. I have to figure out everything with this team and also trying to help fix the culture. So, understanding that he was hired less than a year ago, right? Hired 9-10 months ago.
Yep.
And he's already brought in a handful of players that I view as long-term building blocks. Again, Brownlee and Membu and Taylor and Briggs, all these guys. With also, a couple bright spots on day 3. That's a hard thing to do, man. Like, go look across the NFL. Like, there's not many general managers that can say, yeah, my day 3 picks are contributing their rookie year, and they actually look somewhat playable, like most day 3 picks look like Tyler Barron up to this point.
Yep.
And that's not really been the case with Darren Muji.
I think ultimately he'll get evaluated by his choice at quarterback. That's how you're going to really usually it's like who's the coach you hire and who's the quarterback you draft. The coach actually hired him, it seems like, but whatever. But I think it's going to be like, what quarterback does he get to be the future of this franchise, which is interesting. But I think going into the trade deadline, as of today, I don't have that fear the Jets are going to get fleeced. Like, you don't think like, oh man, the Jets just got a 7th rounder for Breece Hall. What the hell are they doing? Like, you think between Muji and having the background of Spielman behind him, the Jets are in a competent place with the general manager position.
See, I really like that. I would say I'm still a little nervous about because you never really know a player's true value. But when it comes to player evaluation, I really trust the eyes. I really trust the judgment of these guys to make determinations on getting rid of players that won't work for them and to add players that will work for them.
Yep.
Now you could of course say like, all right, well, why isn't Josh Reynolds doing well? Why isn't Andre Sisco doing well? Like those are kind of the two main, and I guess Tyler Johnson, if you want to throw him in there too, those are kind of the 3. And for what it's worth, Justin Fields, but with Fields that just felt like a trial run. None of those acquisitions felt like a long-term boom building block type of move. Like the difference between investing a top 10 pick in Armand Membu is a lot different than a 1-year $8 million deal, 1 year $3 million deal. So no GM is just going to hit every free agent signing is amazing. Every draft pick's amazing. We're going to keep it moving because if that was the case, there would be dynasties.
I mean, I think
dynasties in the NFL.
The one thing you can question for is just making Justin Fields their choice at quarterback for 2 years, $40 million with $30 million guaranteed. That was their choice, but it was like, I think as fans we understood it. Like, all right, this kid's got potential. Based of all the other options out there, it made sense. Like, take a flyer on him and see what happens. It's not working out as of now, but it's like it made sense at that time. But that's
there can't be this revisionist history where, oh my God, the Jets invested how much in Justin Fields?
Yeah, it's 2 years.
No, ESPN, Bleacher Report, Fox Sports, PFF, they all had Justin Fields as one of the top quarterback options on the open market. So yes, the Jets did pay him, and they, it's not looking like it's working out. But was that a realistic possibility? Yes, it really felt like it could go 50-50.
Yep.
And another thing too to make a note of, oh my God, they invested $30 million. Yeah, $30 million is a lot. But in terms of quarterback play quarterback contracts in a league that overpays quarterbacks. So everyone is doing this. Look at Tua.
Yep.
He's the 20th highest paid quarterback in football. Yep. So yes, you're signing a free agent option. You're giving him a starting job, but he's not on a 5-year deal. It's a trial run. He's not $100 million contract. He's not guaranteed a lot of money. It was a very open-ended type of deal. So, and we all kind of talked about that at the time. It's like, we're all pulling for Fields. We all hope he works out, but if he doesn't, oh well, we'll just pick one up at the top of the draft next year.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Like I said, the moves made sense. I'm like you. I hate the handling the wide receiver position. We talked about that endlessly. The wide receiver group would drove me crazy. But it's like that. But it's like, listen, it's also you're starting to see glimpses of what Tyler Johnson is. It's like the quarterback play has been so bad where you're not really seeing what these guys are. And Josh Reynolds has been hurt. So we'll see. It's like to be honest with you, I'm really curious about the second half of the season because it's all about evaluations and figure out who's going to be here next year and what we have in terms of this coaching staff. So it's going to be interesting. To be honest, Ian, I am so glad there's a bye week this week. I'm so glad. Like we have a win, we can exhale, and we can actually just have stress-free football and just enjoy life for a weekend. I'm not even going to text you, I don't think. I won't even text you this weekend.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's actually real quick before we move on. One last point about the whole wide receiver thing. Like we were talking about Juwan Jennings before, right? Like I was in the market of like, let's trade a pick to go get him before the season starts. He requested a trade. He wanted out because he's not getting a new deal. And San Francisco, they end up like coming to this, like they ended up like reworking the 1 year to put in, more money that he can get throughout the course of the season. But if the Jets end up signing him at the end, next March or whatever, or this March, or whatever, in a couple months, the Jets could very well be Darren Muji this could be an example of where patience is key. Patience works because we could have either had Juwan Jennings and signed him to a new deal, or we trade an asset and still have the same exact player.
Yep.
The only difference would be that one season. But I just really, I still feel like this. I think Fields and Taylor would be better if we had another good established receiver on this team. So that's kind of the price that, Muji's pay. Or maybe he just doesn't like, Jennings at all. I'm just using him as an example because I think he fits. But Alec Pierce, you can make that argument. Jacoby Myers, you can make that argument. Rashid Shaheed is an interesting option from the Saints.
He's on the market.
And it's not looking like he's going to be brought back. Olave might resign.
Yeah, I don't want him.
But Shaheed is interesting because I think he would be our wide receiver too, but I just don't know if he's big enough. And I think the Jets want Arian Smith to be that style of player. So I'm not sure.
All right. So this time next week, the trade deadline's already come and gone. So our next show, the trade deadline's already passed because it's 4:00. Will the Jets make any trades next week? Now's your prediction time.
I'm going to say yeah.
Who is it?
Michael Carter will be traded, is my guess.
Okay.
Or if he's not traded, he's going to be a cap casualty at the end of the year. And I'm going to say Quincy Williams is traded.
I'm going to...
And I think we keep Jermaine, Quinnen, and McDonald.
Yeah, I'm going to say...
And Brees, I guess.
I'm going to say Quincy Williams and Alan Lazard get traded. I think those are the two that go. I'm not sure where Alan Lazard's going to go, but I think those are two to go. I think everybody else stays, which if they trade more, great. But I just have a feeling, I don't know. I'm not sure why. I don't know. I just don't think Quinnen's going to go. I don't think Brees is going to go. I think the Jets will be so worried about the culture and staying competitive. They don't make that aggressive move that everybody expects them to make. And the thing is, like, you can't believe anything in the media because the Jets have been silent about pretty much every move they made so far. So nobody's any clue what they're really doing. But I think it's going to be Quincy and Lazard. So we'll see who goes.
Yeah, and Jared Goff, in the chat, Shaheed is not a wide receiver too. You're reaching with that. I'm not saying moving forward. I'm saying right now, if Shaheed was on the team, he would be our second best receiver. Over Tyler Johnson, Lazard, and these guys. I'm not saying like sign him to a big deal in the offseason he's like, all right, cool, we don't need any more help there. I'm just simply saying, like, this year, you just mad inside, you put Shaheed, boom, he's in the lineup. He's probably the second most comfortable, wide receiver on the team outside of Garrett, of course. But trade deadline should be interesting. Although I will say it gets hyped up every year and it's never as climatic as it's kind of made out to be in the week leading up to it. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's a couple players on this team that if you can move on and get something and clear money, just do it.
Yeah, I completely agree. So an hour and a half, somehow we went this long, probably one of our longest ones in a while. So thank you guys for joining us. Next week, the big show will be on his channel where the trade deadline, the aftermath of the trade deadline. I put the link in the chat for the shirts. They're probably be on sale for maybe a week or so, and that's it. going to cut it off and get them out. So if you want to buy one, it's in the chat. I'll put it in the description. And that's it, man. Any fun things for the bye week, man? What do you do on the bye week weekend? You just enjoy football?
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, I'm going back home to the east coast of Florida on Sunday, visiting my my grandpa's flying down from CT, so
Nice.
it'd be cool to see him. Yeah.
So I won't even bother you this entire weekend. I'm not giving you any snobby comments about the Jets. I'm going to be calm this entire weekend.
Well, you know what you mentioned a couple streams ago was the search for the veteran quarterback, and I'm still waiting.
This is my weekend to evaluate. This is my weekend to assess the entire NFL landscape. And by the way, thank you guys for joining. This was episode 101, by the way. We blew right past 100 somehow.
I was going to ask you, do you like the pictures or the gifs of Kyler Murray that I randomly send you? That's a reminder. I'm like, hey, where's my veteran quarterback option?
That's right. This will be my weekend. This is the weekend where I'm coming back next Tuesday after the trade deadline with my proposal for a quarterback of the future. And it won't be a draft pick. This is it.
I need to see it. I need to see it to believe it.
Thank you guys for joining us. Definitely appreciate it. A long one. Appreciate all the support. Make sure you support Ian, me, and we'll see you guys next week.
J-E-T-S,